The U.S. will not crush Huawei. That's the bold prediction the Chinese tech giant CEO made on his first international media appearance since his daughter's arrest in Canada late last year. Responding to recent statements by Vice President Mike Pence and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, CEO Ren Zhengfei said his company's technology is simply too attractive to pass up and vehemently denied he would ever allow it to act as a backdoor for Chinese intelligence, saying this: "The world cannot leave us because we are more advanced. Our company will never undertake any spying activities. If we have any such actions, then I'll shut the company down." For more on this standoff between the U.S., Europe, and Huawei, we're being joined now by investigative journalist Ben Swan. All right, Ben. So we just learned hours ago that in a major rebuke to U.S. demands, the German government is leaning towards working with Huawei to develop the country's next generation internet infrastructure. So Ren's predictions already coming true. Will Europe simply just have to ignore the U.S. rhetoric on this?
Well, I think they're going to choose to, at least some of these countries are, for a couple of reasons. And one of the big reasons for that, the German authorities said, is because they looked at the U.S. claims that Huawei and the Chinese government would be able to access all this data through their systems. And they're saying those claims aren't actually true, and that any possible leaks that there could be within the systems can be mitigated and dealt with. And so Germany's already saying, really, I guess the alarm that the U.S. is raising isn't accurate in what they've seen. So they're open to work with them. But it's not just Germany. Also, New Zealand is now saying that, and Britain are both saying that they're open to Huawei as well, because they can mitigate and deal with whatever security leaks there might be built within the software.
Yeah, and Ren, when talking to the BBC, he insisted that his company will never allow the Chinese government a backdoor to the data of Huawei. Germany's securities agencies have also concluded that there's no indication that Huawei is planning or considering anything of this sort. But yet here in the U.S., we often see law enforcement agencies like the FBI demanding backdoor access to stuff from Apple, for example. So then, does the U.S. government really have the moral authority to challenge Huawei on this?
Right. I don't think they do. I think that's part of what a lot of people here in the U.S. who are following the story, and I think probably fewer people follow this story than many of the others, because Huawei is not a player here in the U.S. And so we're talking about a foreign company that really doesn't have access to the United States. And so people, you're almost like speaking a foreign language. But the reality is everything that the U.S. government is accusing Huawei of being able to do is currently being done by Apple and by Amazon and by Google. That is already happening. So the idea, as you said, that the U.S. is going to take this moral high ground that they have to protect not only U.S. citizens, but they have to protect the entire world from the technology of this cell phone company is outrageous. And here's the other thing, Manila, that's so important about this. Why are we as the public sitting by and watching the U.S. government act so inappropriately over a private company? Because that's really what's happening here. This is a private company, and yet the U.S. government is acting as if this is a state power that is declaring war on these countries. It's not declaring war. They're offering their services to build a 5G network, and yet we're acting with this kind of insane sensibility to it.
Right, as if it's a state cell phone company from China or something. But Ben, on that note, does the U.S., do the allies like the U.K. and others, they seem to follow our lead on blocking Huawei or other, whatever entities that the U.S. tells them. But if they do that, don't they risk losing out on major technological breakthroughs in the future when it comes to the internet and connectivity? I mean, couldn't this present other countries with future advantages in fields like finance and high-tech industries, for example?
Sure, absolutely it could. And that's an important point because, the U.S., we pretend we're not, but we pretend that we are still the bastion of the free market in the world. Certainly we're not. But this goes against everything that the free market is, right? The idea that we're going to dictate to other countries not to utilize emerging technology, better technology, faster technology. That's what the market is supposed to decide. And so as a nation looks at developing out this infrastructure, wouldn't they be looking for the company that can provide them the best technology, the newest technology, not, oh, well, we're going to bypass the best to go with someone else because, you know, the U.S. is telling us to. I got to tell you real quick, I was in Mexico last week. Huawei's all over Mexico. And the technology they have for just the consumer cell phones there, you can take a cell phone that's a Huawei cell phone, put it up to the back of another one, and charge batteries back and forth between the two.
Oh,
Nothing in the U.S. is doing that. So technologically, you know, just their consumer cell phones are far more advanced than what we have.
And we're already behind, and on that note, I'm already behind on time, so we got to leave it right there. Ben Swan, thank you so much for taking some time out to talk to us today.
Thanks.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.